Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're opening up a concept that, well, it sounds profoundly spiritual, maybe a little abstract even, but our source material today shows it has really vital, measurable, and immediate real-world consequences, especially when things get tough during crises.
Yeah, that's right. We're diving into purity of heart, or tingsin as it's known.
And it's drawn from that famous line, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God," Matthew 5:8.
Exactly. And often people just hear that as, be clean, simple. But the sermon recording we analyzed for this deep dive, it goes so much further.
Sure.
It's this fascinating mix, actually. You've got deep theological thinking, but then there's the pastor's own personal story, his really innovative rural church ministry.
And even a blow-by-blow of how they handled a recent disaster, right? A massive flood.
Precisely. It connects the dots from theology straight to crisis management.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Our mission today, then, is to get past that simple clean versus dirty idea. We need to understand purity as, well, as the essential requirement for your inner motivation and your outer behavior to be totally in sync, complete unity.
Unbroken unity, yes.
And the punchline seems to be why that unity creates this incredible trust, like a kind of social capital that lets you, well, move mountains when speed is absolutely critical.
Absolutely. So first things first, what is purity of heart? The pastor clarifies right away, the heart here isn't, the organ pumping blood.
Right, not the physical heart.
No, it's that non-physical core, your thoughts, your intentions, your motives. It's like the engine room driving everything.
The engine room, I like that.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about alignment, the real test isn't just what you did, but why you did it.
Exactly.
Is your true purpose in, say, running your business, or raising your family, or serving the community? Is it really to honor something higher? Or is it maybe secretly about satisfying yourself or just showing off how competent you are?
That's the core question. And what the source really challenges is this dualistic thinking, this idea that we can somehow separate our inner life from our outer actions.
Like they exist in different compartments.
Yeah. And the pastor warns against two kinds of disconnect that really violate this purity. First, there's the person whose behavior is maybe outwardly destructive, but they justify it by saying their inner feelings are pure.
Like the classic, I love my family, so my shady business deals or my anger issues are somehow okay because deep down, my intentions are good.
Exactly that. But the second type, and this seems to be a big focus in the teaching, is the reverse. It's the person who looks perfect on the outside, rigidly disciplined, maybe even ascetic.
Follows all rules, looks great.
Looks great, yeah. But that discipline is actually a mask for an inner life that's just simmering with pride or really toxic judgment or bitter thoughts. Good on paper, but hollow inside.
And this is where the prodigal son story comes in, but with a twist, focusing on the elder brother.
The good son who stayed home.
Right.
Outwardly, he's the model child. Never left, did everything he was told.
Dutiful.
Totally dutiful. But then, when the younger brother comes back, penniless and broken, the elder brother's reaction is just pure bitterness, jealousy, judgment.
And I found the pastor's observation here really sharp, he asks. How did the elder brother know the younger one supposedly spent the inheritance with harlots?
Ooh, that specific detail.
Yeah, that angry specific accusation. Did it maybe reflect the elder brother's own hidden thoughts, his own desires? It's a powerful point. It just exposes how a really good, rigid appearance can mask this deep inner impurity, these unfulfilled, bitter motives.
It really hammers home the point. Purity demands alignment. Your motive and your action both have to withstand scrutiny.
Which makes you wonder, where did this pastor develop such an, uncompromising standard? This focus on the internal test?
That's a great question, and he actually addresses it. He traces it back to his seminary days.
Oh.
Yeah, he was heavily influenced by a mentor, Lou Pastor. And this mentor specifically warned the students, future ministers, not to chase after big churches or focus on personal reputation or, success metrics like attendance numbers.
Just ignore the metrics.
Pretty much. The goal was defined very simply, very purely. Just serve as an ambassador for God's kingdom, period. No personal empire building allowed.
Wow. That mindset really sets the stage for how he defines faith itself, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He apparently took a deep dive into Hebrews 11:1.
Ah, the classic definition of faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. That's a usual translation.
Right.
But he challenged that. He looked at the original Greek, the word often translated substance or evidence, and he found it implies something more than just passive belief. It suggests actual planning or action.
Huh. So not just believing it, but making plans, doing something.
Yeah, closer to the idea of plan or act. So
Yeah.
if you follow that interpretation, faith isn't just passively hoping something good will happen.
It's not waiting by the mailbox.
Exactly. It's actively making what you hope for but can't yet see happen through persistent planning, through action. It demands movement right now, no matter how hard it looks.
Okay, if faith is action, then you absolutely need a pure motive driving that action. Which brings us neatly to how this plays out in his own ministry. His small rural church started an AI group.
Sounds almost contradictory, doesn't it? A remote rural church diving into AI.
It really does.
But that's sort of the genius. They're investing time, resources, learning these tools.
Yes.
Using AI to create gospel-related content, YouTube videos, podcasts, making it freely available everywhere, globally.
And this work becomes a kind of real-world test for their motive.
Constantly. They're always asking themselves, why are we really doing this? Is it because AI is trendy? Is it for performance, to look good? Or is it genuinely about getting the message out?
So how do they prove the motive even to themselves?
Well, the proof is kind of in the pudding, or the lack of it, you could say. The ministry is specifically structured not to chase worldly return, meaning it requires a huge upfront investment of time and effort with very little immediate payoff in terms of, say, traffic or fame. And crucially, the channel has zero advertising, no membership fees, and they accept no specific donations just for this AI work.
Wow, so the revenue is basically nothing.
Almost zero. Their stated goal, their pure goal, is just to be a tiny lamp of light, crossing borders, ignoring geography only for God's glory.
That really is motive and action locked together.
Yeah.
No room for selfish benefit to creep in there.
Right.
Okay, so if we connect this level of internal consistency, this purity, to the bigger picture, we start to see how absolutely critical it becomes in high-stakes situations, like a real-time crisis.
Absolutely. And the source went into detail on a very recent one. Major flooding in Hualien Wangfu Township, hitting the Matayan tribe especially hard.
Caused by extreme rain.
Extreme rain, yeah.
Yeah.
Triggered a massive landslide which blocked the river. That created a temporary barrier lake, which then breached. Catastrophic. And the main bridge connecting them to the outside, destroyed, completely gone.
Oh my goodness.
Estimated 3 years for repair.
3 years. So you have a community effectively cut off, facing this long, hard recovery. And the local pastor on the ground is very young.
Very young. Pastor Pan, just 3 years of experience, about to be ordained, thrown right into the deep end.
So what guidance did the supervising pastor, the one with the emphasis on purity, give him? What was the practical wisdom here?
Well, it was really an exercise in calm assessment and smart resource management, focusing on what the church could realistically control. First thing, supplies.
Okay.
He was told explicitly, do not panic buy. Understand that aid from the rest of Taiwan will arrive probably within 2 days. So just secure the absolute essentials, water, instant noodles for those first 48 to 72 hours.
That kind of calm, clear assessment of resource flow is so important to prevent panic, isn't it?
It's crucial. Then second, focus. The supervising pastor immediately reframed the core problem. He said, look, the initial flood is bad, yes, but the real long-term challenge, it's the cleanup, the sanitation, preventing epidemics after the disaster because of all the silt and mud. That's the long game.
Okay, practical focus. What about logistics? If the main bridge is gone?
Good question. The supervising pastor handled that immediately. Confirmed that even though the main route, Taiwan Route 9, was destroyed, there were alternative ways in, specifically via a place called Fenglin using Route 193.
Ah, so there was still access.
Yes. He verified that materials and personnel could still get through. And finally, volunteer management. The advice was, direct the big waves of volunteers, the large donations coming in, direct them to the official command centers. Let the public agencies or the big NGOs handle that coordination.
Why? So the church doesn't get swamped.
Exactly. So the small church could focus its limited energy purely on its core mission, spiritual care, not to get bogged down in overwhelming logistics it wasn't equipped for.
Okay, and this is where that high-efficiency trust system really kicks in, isn't it? There was a donation.
Right. A longtime donor, just referred to as Mai Zixin, immediately pledged 100,000 new Taiwan dollars for relief. About, what, $3,100 US?
Yeah, around there. And the decision made about how to use that money was unusual.
Highly unusual. Radical, even. The supervising pastor decided to wire that 100,000 NTD directly into Pastor Pan's personal bank account.
Wait, his personal account, completely bypassing standard church finance procedures. No deacon meetings, no budgets, no receipts first.
Exactly. No formal process, none of the usual checks and balances.
Wow. I mean, that sounds risky. Doesn't that open them up to accusations, lack of accountability, even if the motive is pure?
That's the exact tension, isn't it? And the pastor's rationale was stark. In a true emergency, when lives might be at stake, standard church bureaucracy is just too slow. It can't react fast enough.
Time versus procedure.
Precisely. By giving the trusted person on the front line, Pastor Pan, immediate flexible authority, he could act instantly. Like, say, buying a critical water pump for 30,000 NTD right away, on the spot, without waiting days for approvals or finding paperwork that might not even exist in the chaos.
So that pump could potentially save lives or prevent disease, but it relies entirely on the character of the person holding the cash.
100%. This whole high-speed, high-efficiency operation hinges completely on this deep chain of trust, built up over years, decades even.
Donor trusts supervising pastor.
Who completely trusts Pastor Pan. And that trust isn't blind faith. It's based on observing years and years of clean motives and reliable actions. It's the lived definition of purity of heart.
So trust, based on proven character, becomes this kind of social capital that can actually override rigid systems when needed.
Exactly. It enables a more fluid, arguably more spirit-led self-discipline that just accelerates help getting where it's needed most. And the source mentioned it's also a deliberate mentoring strategy, like Moses training Joshua, giving real responsibility.
But in the midst of all that chaos,
the
flood, the cleanup, the money changing hands, what was the single most critical instruction given to Pastor Pan?
It might surprise you. It was that even when he was at his busiest, most exhausted, he had to continue his daily personal devotion and prayer, and he had to record a brief greeting message, Kinging Day, for his church members every day.
A daily spiritual check-in. Why was that the non-negotiable? Seems counterintuitive when there's so much physical work.
Because, as the supervising pastor stressed, in a crisis, people's spiritual needs are often even greater than their physical ones. They need comfort, they need hope, they need feeding from God's word. Even if the physical food runs low, the spiritual food must not.
That consistency reinforces the pure motive behind all the physical aid.
Wow.
Yeah, it keeps the why front and center.
Okay, that structural purity, that link between motive and action, leads us into the next part. The flow of resources and maybe the temptations that come with them. The source contrasted city churches and rural ones.
Yeah, it's a really compelling contrast. The idea is in resource-rich city churches, you might have lots of talented people, lots of money, lots of gifts, and the temptation there is maybe relying too much on those human resources. You might forget your desperate need for God. You could become complacent.
Whereas in resource-poor rural churches, the opposite is often true. You face constant physical limitations. You don't have enough money, maybe not enough people, and that very limitation can drive this intense, real, daily dependence on God, which in turn can lead to more tangible experiences of His provision, a clearer sense of seeing God's work,
And the pastor shared his own story about this, about receiving help.
He did. He talked about being in seminary decades ago and receiving surprisingly large stipends and even a big red envelope gift, 20,000 NTD, which was a lot back then.
40 years ago, yeah.
And later, when he was studying, a church member just gave him free housing, no strings attached. He freely received.
And that experience shaped his view on giving.
Absolutely. It led directly to this principle of reciprocity. Because he freely received, he feels this deep responsibility to freely give. He sees himself as needing to be a channel for blessing, really living out that teaching. It is more blessed to give than to receive.
And the ultimate example of this pure giving comes back to the donor, May Zixon.
Back to May Zixon, yes. This person apparently continues to support dozens of rural ministry families, like sending sums of 500,000 NTD a year, funded the air conditioning for the pastor's own church, yet remains completely anonymous, extremely low-key.
No recognition sought at all.
None. It's presented as this pure demonstration of love that isn't looking for any earthly reward or applause, just pure motive, pure action.
And the final point the source brings up to tie this together is gratitude, using the story of the 10 lepers.
Right. Jesus heals 10, but only one comes back to say thank you. And significantly, he was a Samaritan, an outsider, someone considered unclean or less deserving.
And the point is?
The point is that grace, God's provision, should never be taken for granted. And often it's the people who feel least deserving, like that Samaritan, who experience the most genuine, surprising gratitude. And that kind of gratitude naturally compels you. It overflows into sharing blessings and caring for others, especially those weaker than you.
This has been, wow, a really comprehensive deep dive. So circling back to our mission at the start, Purity of heart isn't just a nice spiritual idea, it's this rigorous standard, isn't it? Aligning your inner motive doing things for God's glory with your external action, ethical, sacrificial behavior.
Exactly. And that unity, that alignment, becomes the absolute bedrock of trust. It creates this incredibly efficient social capital that works wonders in ministry, and especially as we saw in a crisis.
And the reward promised, they shall see God. It's not just something for the afterlife.
No, the source argues it happens now. When you live this life of pure motive and upright action fueled by gratitude and generosity, you actually experience God's presence, His mighty works, more clearly, right here, right now.
So what does this all mean for you listening? The source material really highlights Mazix's silent giving, doing good without needing any praise. That's powerful. But faith also teaches us, be a light, be a good witness in the world.
There's a tension there.
There really is.
Yeah.
Which leaves us with a final, maybe provocative thought for you to chew on. How do you balance that tension? The tension between avoiding charity that's just performative, doing good just to get applause, and on the other hand, demonstrating good works in a way that genuinely influences and inspires other people, showing them what you truly value.
Finding that balance is not easy.
It's a continuous challenge, really.
Yeah.
It requires ongoing wisdom, ongoing discretion. That's maybe the daily work of trying to live with a pure heart in a very public world.